Martin and Sarah are happily married and raising their beautiful daughter, Lola. They seem like an ordinary family, the kind that has picnics in the park on Sundays. At the moment the family is staying with Lola's godfather, Clement, at his house on the island. When Martin leaves on a business trip, his daughter records a video for him. The little girl misses him terribly. While her mother is playing the violin on the shore, Lola goes off for a walk. Later when Sarah finishes, she looks for her daughter everywhere, but Lola is nowhere to be found. At first Sarah thinks the girl is simply fooling around, but it quickly becomes obvious that this is not a game of hide and seek. The woman immediately calls the police. The search leads nowhere. Martin returns at the first opportunity and asks his wife to reconstruct the last events in detail. Sarah is unable to calm down, her hands are shaking. She still refuses to believe that this is really happening. Martin blames everyone around him for what happened, his wife, Clement. They failed to keep an eye on Lola. Martin goes looking for his daughter himself, shouting her name at the top of his lungs. He is as desperate as Sarah is. Feeling completely helpless, Martin breaks down and simply cries. 2 years pass. Sarah decides to return to the violin and gives a performance. Martin cannot understand how she is able to play while no one knows where their daughter is. The man ruins the concert by causing a scene right on stage, in front of the astonished audience. Of course Martin is drunk. After Lola disappeared without a trace, he started drinking, turning Sarah's life into an even greater nightmare. The woman found the strength to go on living despite her grief, but Martin believes she has no right to do that. All of Sarah's and Clement's attempts to reason with him fall on deaf ears. In the next scene, we see a blonde woman in a hotel room. She looks lost. The phone keeps ringing non-stop, but the woman does not pick up, only repeating, "Leave me alone." Martin works as a parking lot security guard, but he shows no interest either in his job or in the people around him. He has lost his main job. At the security post, Martin often sleeps while drunk. His life has fallen apart, just like his marriage. But everything changes when Inspector Van Schleck informs the grief-stricken spouses that their daughter may have been found. All the identifying details match. She was found by a woman on a forest road. The girl is now in a hospital on the island, alive and well. It is still unclear what exactly happened. The police have nothing so far. Hearing this, Martin is disappointed. He wants to know where their daughter has been for the past 2 years. Lola is not speaking yet, but Sarah is sure the girl will talk as soon as she recovers. The couple plans to pick up their daughter from the hospital the following morning. Lately Martin has been living separately, but his things are still there. In the morning before leaving, Martin finds a note from his wife saying that she cannot go with him. Since Lola is still weak, the doctors have forbidden her to fly, so the journey takes some time. Reunited with his daughter, Martin cannot stop crying. But for some reason Sarah is not answering his calls. Inspector Van Schleck gives the father and daughter a ride. Lola still remains silent. Van Schleck explains that the girl is not ready yet. Still, none of that matters to Martin anymore now that his daughter has come home. He promises that from now on, their family will be together again. Time passes, and Sarah still does not get in touch. Martin leaves his wife a voice message, reproaching her for not being home at a moment like this. What could possibly be more important than the return of their daughter? Lola does not say a word, no matter how hard her father tries. When the wind blows the gate open, Martin steps outside to close it. Lola locks the front door from the inside. The man tries to persuade his daughter to open it and swears that she is safe. But the girl does not open the door. She is probably frightened. The next day Martin meets with Inspector Schleck, who assures him that the police are doing everything they can. The inspector also advises Martin to take Lola to a psychologist. Therapy might help her start talking. Suddenly Lola is almost hit by a car. Behind the wheel is that blonde woman. Inspector Schleck and Captain Baroit make sure that everything is all right and promise to contact Martin. The man, together with his daughter, plans to leave the island and return home. All this time they had been living in Clement's house. During the security check, a guard stops the father and daughter because the metal detector reacts to the girl. On the surveillance cameras, it is clear that the blonde woman is following them. An officer questions Martin, asking whether Lola has any implants or a metal plate in her head. The man assures the officer that the girl is healthy. When asked whether Lola was ever given any inorganic substances, he struggles to answer. Martin thinks it would be better if his daughter did not talk about the traumatic experience she went through, and instead forgot everything completely. Clement, being a neuropsychiatrist, could help. In Martin's opinion, hypnosis is the best solution. He takes his daughter to a bookstore to cheer her up. Suddenly Martin notices that some man is photographing them. The blonde woman steps into the budding conflict, claiming that the man is photographing her and that she is used to people constantly mistaking her for Nora Cross. The father and daughter head home by ferry. While Martin is distracted, The blonde woman approaches Lola and offers to tell her a secret. The stranger leans down and whispers something into the girl's ear. As soon as Martin sees this, he rushes to intervene. The woman explains that she did not mean any harm. She also says that people often mistake her for Nora Cross, a popular singer. Or perhaps she really is Nora Cross. Martin senses that there is something wrong with this woman and hurries to end the conversation. She calls someone and says that Martin never leaves Lola's side, which complicates everything. Meanwhile, Lola hints to her father that her mother knows more than she is saying. Martin is bewildered, thinking that his daughter must be confused. It has to be a mistake because Sarah cannot possibly know anything. Martin steps out of the cabin to make a call, but there is no signal. Then he approaches some woman and asks for permission to use her computer so he can contact his wife. When the man logs into his account, he finds her correspondence with Clement, in which she expresses concern that Martin suspects something. As soon as he gets a signal, Martin immediately calls the inspector and reports that his wife may be involved in Lola's disappearance. In any case, she clearly has something to hide. The girl vanishes from the cabin. Martin looks for her everywhere, but Lola seems to have dissolved into thin air. He does not know that at that very moment Lola is with Nora. Because of a magnetic storm, the instruments begin to malfunction, so the captain decides to turn the ferry around and return to port. Martin does not want his daughter to go back there, but his opinion is ignored. The good news is that Lola has been found, in Nora's cabin on the second deck. Martin rushes there, while the woman asks Lola why she is silent. For the first time since she was found, the girl speaks, saying that her dad is angry because he is worried about her. Martin takes his daughter away from there. Lola explains her little escape by saying she was bored. The man, trying to be as patient as possible, attempts to find out what exactly her mother knows. She would not have said that for no reason. Lola, however, refuses to talk to her father, even though he wants to help. In the end, Martin cannot take it anymore and loses his temper. A few seconds later, he already regrets it. They go to the dining area to grab a bite. Nora joins them at their table. At that very moment, an announcement comes over the speakers saying that the ferry is returning to the port of departure because of the magnetic storm. Lola does not want to go back to the island under any circumstances, and neither does Nora. Suddenly feeling unwell, she hurries off to the restroom. The woman only wants them to leave her alone, whoever they may be. Martin apologizes to Nora for how tactless he was earlier. Over the past 2 years, he has simply grown unused to people. Someone sends Nora a bouquet of flowers. Feeling a mix of panic and anger, the woman throws the flowers overboard. In the commotion, Martin notices a psychiatry book in her bag, written by Clement Govard. Nora goes to the security desk and asks who sent the bouquet. The guard only replies that it was one of her admirers. Nora thinks she is being stalked. The storm grows stronger. Martin decides to look up information about Nora Cross online. She has repeatedly found herself at the center of scandals. Lola says that the person who frightened Nora was in the port. Meanwhile, she calls Clement and Sarah and says that she cannot keep going. The man reminds her that she has no choice if she wants to live. At last, Sarah calls Martin. He demands that his wife explain what kind of game she and Clement are playing. Why did she not go with him to pick up their daughter? Sarah promises that they will figure everything out together when he returns. For the time being, Martin, Lola and Nora are forced to get off at the nearest shore, rent a car and continue on their way. Many people in Martin's place would dream of finding themselves alone with a star like that. The man, however, senses that Nora does not like being famous. She confirms that it is just a job. Most people think they have control over their lives and choose their own path, but in reality that is not true at all. Martin, for example, used to be a lawyer, and a rather successful one at that. Now he works as a parking lot security guard. The man tries to call the inspector, but to no avail. While he is filling up the car, Nora and Lola go into a store to buy something to eat. The girl asks Nora where her own father is and whether he is kind. The woman replies that he is not. They continue on their way. It is already dark, and Martin thinks it would not hurt to stop. The man does not know that they are being watched. They stop at a roadside hotel, and after checking into their rooms, go down to the restaurant for dinner. Martin carefully tries to find out from Nora where she got the signed copy of Clement Govard's book. The woman assures him that it is merely a string of coincidences, but Martin of course does not believe her. The man is certain that it is Clement whom Nora is constantly talking to on the phone. The question is, what business does Nora have with Lola's godfather? It clearly cannot be a coincidence. Nora reacts sharply, calling Martin a liar. At that very moment, a wedding is being celebrated at the hotel, and the host asks Nora to sing a song for the newlyweds. The woman takes the microphone, and suddenly flashes of memories of her father, Thomas, begin to flicker before her eyes. Nora breaks down and tells the guests about her psychological problems. Martin rushes to get the woman out of there. Having pulled herself together, Nora tells Martin about how she used to have substance abuse problems. Thomas did everything he could to save his daughter, but it is impossible to help someone who does not want help. One day after yet another argument, Nora got behind the wheel while in no condition to drive and hit a boy on a forest road. Hysterical, she called her father and asked him to come. Thomas told his daughter to drive home and promised to take care of everything. In the end, he gave the boy's parents $2 million to buy their silence. According to the official version, the boy fell off a cliff. Nora cannot stop thinking about him. She was treated by Clement, who was the one who told her to meet Martin. The man is baffled as to why. Nora has no answer. Martin believes it may somehow be connected to Lola. Besides, he cannot help noticing that someone has been following them, ever since they left the island. The man goes to the hotel receptionist and shows him a photograph of Clement. Could it be Clement who is following them? Unfortunately, the receptionist cannot say for sure. Inspector Schleck still does not answer Martin's calls, and the man is convinced that someone wants to kidnap his daughter. Nora wakes Lola and tells her that they have to run immediately. The woman and the girl disappear into the forest. Martin rushes after them. All three of them get lost in the fog. The past intertwines with the present. Nora sees her father digging a grave in the woods. She realizes that her father lied about the boy's parents. Thomas did it for his daughter's sake. Martin finds his daughter and leads her out of the forest. Nora appears as well, looking frightened and disoriented. In tears, the woman says that her father was here. But Lola did not see anyone. Obviously, Nora is delirious. It is dangerous for them to stay here. But before they continue on their way, Martin wants to know everything Nora knows. The woman only says that the girl knows. Lola says that she is dead. The girl wishes that her father would finally come to terms with it. Martin thinks that his daughter is unwell. Lola says that on that fateful day, she stepped onto the forest road when a car suddenly appeared. It was Nora's car. She did not hit some boy, she hit Lola. That was Sarah's secret. And yet Martin still refuses to accept the truth, because they are already so close to home. They will become one family again. Through tears, Nora keeps repeating how sorry she is. All this time Lola had not really been there beside Martin. Sarah had known about Clement's psychological experiment from the very beginning, an experiment aimed at making Martin break out of the vicious cycle in which he had been trapped since his daughter's disappearance. Nora had also been Clement's patient. The woman invented the boy in order to drown out the unbearable guilt. No one except Thomas knew about the accident on the island. Clement wanted very much to help, but he needed proof. When the man realized who was responsible for Lola's death, he told Sarah immediately. They desperately wanted to find the body. The truth could only be uncovered through hypnosis. Martin agreed to it, thinking that Clement wanted to help him get rid of his alcoholism. But in reality it was all part of a major psychological experiment. When Clement called the hotel where Nora was staying, he hypnotized her at the same time as Martin. Then Nora came to her doctor's office. That is how Nora and Martin began their mental journey. All of it was happening only in their minds. It was supposed to force both of them to accept the truth. Only then could they let go of the past. Lola asks her father to promise that he will find the strength to go on living. She will remain in his heart forever. Martin and Nora feel the pain setting them free. Clement counts to 3, and they open their eyes at the same moment. All this time Sarah had been present at the session. At last, Lola's parents come face to face with the one who took their daughter from them. They do not say a single word to each other. In the final scene, we see Martin and Sarah holding hands.